we have two guests with us. It's the first of its kind, and so you know that this is definitely special. And there's a reason we have two guests with us. So with me here, we have the just concluded head of CUMD. We call them the CD. And so he's our choir director. And with me here is another amazing specialty of his own. So they're both in mechanical engineering. Actually, they've been here for 5 years. And it's been such a wonderful ride because one thing I know about the both of them is that they are very good in terms of music and very good in their academics as well. As you know, we only bring you the best. One other thing that I have for the both of them is they'll tell us of how they used to skip classes to score songs. Don't do that, but we'll hear from them. Sir, Mikun and Tamilore, welcome to the Edit Interviews. How do you feel?
I feel good actually. It feels nice to be in front of the camera again.
Okay, what about you?
I'm grateful for the experience. It feels, for me to say, odd to be in this kind of setting, but then I'm ready for it.
So to our first question, how long have you guys been friends for?
5 years.
Wow.
5 years now. Yeah, 5 years.
Okay, so they've been friends for 5 years, and we really want to know how all of that came to play. Like, how did you guys meet, and did you guys have any struggles?
On how we met, he will answer.
Okay.
We met in a very unusual way actually. It was in the first 2 or 3 days of resumption where we were going around medical clearance. I'm sure people that are in CU obviously understand. It was a week-long orientation that we had. So chapel was for like 2 days. Then we went to, I think it was when we went to the colleges that we met, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little bit blurry, but yeah, it was when we went to the colleges down to the medical clearances that we met. So I got to know a person, he got to know the same person, we got to know each other through the same person.
Wow.
And I just met the person when I got to school, so it wasn't like as if the person was my friend or anything. And then we just moved together. To cut long story short, so we were moving together, moving back to the hall together, bye. And then we found ourselves walking the same wing to the same floor. And you're on this floor, I'm on this floor. And we're just 2 rooms apart. No, a room apart actually. 04, 06. Yes. So we've just been going everywhere together since then. So.
Just Sam, would you just give us on that 1 minute, just a brief description of how you guys met?
He put most of it there. We met through a mutual friend around the same exact time. And it was so funny because neither of us were interested in the conversation we were having with that person.
Yeah.
To be honest. But like, we just quickly spoke with the person and we went the same way. And I'm like, we reached the wing at this bottom of the stairs for the wing. We're like, what's here? And we're not going to the same floor. And then we both climbed to the same floor. So we walked down. I stopped at my room. He walked to his room and I was like, oh, nice to see you. That was basically how we met.
So we move to our next question, and our next question will be pertaining music. So we have the CD here, so we would love to baptize us with music. We want to know what music means to you and how it has shaped your life and your stay in Covenant University.
So music is actually life to me, let me put it that way. How you teach on worship and say worship is a lifestyle. You say these things are a lifestyle. Music is also a lifestyle for me. I've always found myself around the music. I've always been here. So I'm not surprised that I'm here also. So it's something that has always been a very huge part of me. It's something I cannot take away from me actually. So it's just the way I've always been. I also think it's God's way of securing me in the faith also. Because growing up, like I said, I've always been around the church. I've always been around the music, the choir also. So I'm always just there. So it's just my life now.
So guys, you see, every single person we actually interviewed today have been saying music is life. So if you are coming to see you, join CUMD. That's my shout out. CUMD, you will love it. Do you see yourself actually becoming like a producer after now? Or do you produce right now? Or do you see yourself becoming a producer after now? You want to know, do you want to do music long term?
Generally speaking, let me just start from the end of your question. Yes, I do want to do music long term. In terms of production, there's a lot to learn, really. When you start learning about DAWs, you start learning about how the frequency affects music and other things. So I'm in that process of gaining knowledge. I've tried my hand at some things and I've shared with you.
Couple of things.
And
Christmas medleys.
can you please let us do the interview?
Yes, sir.
And it's been going well. So I do see myself doing music long term, really.
So the question many people would always want to ask, because it turns out that when many people involve themselves in, I would term it extracurricular, they tend to disengage from the academics and stuff like that. Would you say music has affected your academics in any way? I think Sammy could be the best to answer that.
Affected, yes, but in a positive way. Because there's always that myth. I think one thing that helped us growing up was when we came into the school in 100 level, we always had our leaders project the concept of balance in a way that you can be so faithful in service and still be very strong academically. And they weren't people that just spoke. I saw the results. We had BGSs from the headships of choir as at my 100 level. My stand choir director then was BGS of Pets. She was coach rep. She was a lot of things actually. She was in council at some point and she was always serving year in, year out. My choir director was in EIE. I think it was in 4.9 something. So it was 9 something. And I know because I know they did a shout out to him during the convo. And they were all like that. So assistant choir director classical was the co-shop of computer science, captain of Holt Prize, captain of rugby team. So I could see possibility, and so I think it just did something to me that is possible also. So if I can see it happen with people, it can also happen in my own life too. So I've always had that mindset. So I've never seen it as a distraction. If something isn't working, it's not necessarily in what you're involved in. It's basically how you are handling what you're involved in, basically. Priorities and how exactly you go about them. So it will never be a negative distraction.
So my next question before we show you your picture for the trick question would be, has it ever occurred to you that if you hadn't met him or if he hadn't met you, what would he have been?
Is it me or Amy asking?
Anyone that wants to answer, actually.
I honestly do not know. I always want to see God's wisdom and providence in how things have turned out in my life. And so when I look back, I would say this is also one of God's providence in how we met. It's not coincidental, I promise you it's not. You can't make things like that up. So I also see God's wisdom and providence in how we met, in the orchestration. Even though it seemed very unlikely, it seemed very unconventional. But I also still see the wisdom in how God really made us meet. So
If I'm going to say it, I would personally say that if I hadn't met Mikun, most likely than not, I would have not joined CMD when I did. I think one of the things that I realized about our friendship, and not just our friendship, but friendships over the years, is that, like the Bible says, two come together except they agree. And like iron sharpened iron, so that the man sharpened the countenance of his friend. So a lot of time you see yourself being influenced by the things that your friends decide to do. So I remember one Friday, if I'm not mistaken, where he told me, "Oh, he wants to join the service. You're doing this. I can sing. Let's give that a try now." And getting to the auditions, oh, everything went well here, aren't I? But
senior man.
I think if I did not have this friendship in particular, a lot about my CU journey would have been different, because it's one thing for us to be on the same floor, in the same wing. It's another thing for us to be in the same course. So there are things that cannot be explained by just coincidence. So like you said, it's providence. And I really am grateful for this friendship, because one of the things that this friendship has taught me is that you cannot allow some certain things to be without discussion. So you'll see that oftentimes, if any issue, so this is going back to one of your questions, if any issue does come up, we would actually take the time to lock
Send
ourselves inside
everybody
the room,
out.
send everybody out,
And
just
you
to go
shout
inside the
need
room,
be sometimes.
lock the door, and shout, scream, everything until we've sorted everything out and we've reached a compromise. So people ask, "Oh, your friendship is so strong." It's only strong if you want it to be strong, really. And I have to admit, he's an amazing person. I'm not just saying it because of the camera, right? And from this conversation that he has had with you guys, you can tell that he has a very deep well of
He's trying
wisdom.
to bottom me up.
I really am grateful for this friendship. So
Looking at the younger version of you, knowing what you know now, what would you tell that person?
oh, I'm starting this one. I think the first thing I would say to him is that don't believe the myth that Miku is always right. Miku is not always right.
Wow.
Miku is not always right, but a lot of the time he has opinions that matter. So don't necessarily be strong-headed. Actually take the time to listen. And while you're listening, don't stop at listening to only Miku. Listen to a lot of people's opinions. I think one of the things that I have learned now that I didn't know before is that when you put your ear to the ground, you learn more about yourself in a situation and yourself in general. So me, 5 years ago, just learn to listen more.
Okay, well,
Very much similar to what I would tell myself is truly Mikun is not always right. And that there is a lot of wisdom in humility also in listening to people. And also I'll tell him to not place work above relationships.
that's an amazing one. So we have their trick question now. Pertaining these two people, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for family. That picture actually has a lot to do with family. I love it at home also. I'm glad to be in the family that I'm in. I'm glad to have the father and the mother and sisters that I have actually. I'm so glad that I can run home and I know I have peace. I know it's not a home that is troubled. I know that it is a home that has God inside. I know I have somewhere called home that I can always go to.
From that picture, yeah. A lot happened that day actually. Started from home and a bit of argument with my parents. Then I came out, met these people. Didn't go the way I wanted because they made me bring my younger brother. This is also a shout out to him. He's coming to see you. I think I'm really grateful for the gift of friends. And not just for the gift of friends, for the gift of right association, to be specific. Because was one of the things that spending time with. That was my birthday, by the way. That was my 16th. I can't remember how old I was. I'm not talking about my age.
I think I tried then.
For the gift of Writer Association, right? Because spending time with those people made me realize two things. That day, one, that's like he said, a family that there is love in, that you can find peace when you go back to. A lot of us have that, but we take it for granted, right? I had an argument with my mom that morning, and somehow I just felt as if, oh, on my birthday, she didn't love me. And came out, met them, and spending time with them made me actually realize that, oh, there's actually no place like home. And then also for the gift of friendship, because I had never been in a friend group where everybody was committed to showing up for a friend. But that day, I can't remember how it started. Maybe he suggested that, oh, let's go and see a movie or something like that to my birthday. And I'm like, well, I don't do that normally, but let's try. Let's ask people. And everybody that we invited showed up. And it made me feel so overwhelmed with emotion, because if you're loved both outside and inside, it truly shows the caliber of person that you are, the kind of person that people see you as, and the kind of person that God is reflecting through you, really. So
Wow. And so, to our final question, what question would you leave for the next interviewee?
How many children do you want to have?
I would say, how do you handle anger, and what would you do if a situation doesn't go exactly as you planned?
Thank you so much, Mikun and Tami, for your time. We really appreciate you, and we will see you in the next episode.